who is a director that you would like to see make a comeback? So David Lynch passed away recently, and I, like many others, held out hope for a long time before he left us that he would direct something again. And he would say things to tease that he would one day direct again, but it was not meant to be. But it did get me thinking, who else? Who else is out there who hasn't made a movie in a long time? And maybe they're off living their lives. They're feeling peace and happiness, hanging out with their families. And I say, no, leave all that behind. Go back to a set and make a goddamn motion picture. Life is short. The only point is to create. That is the lesson I took away from The Brutalist. So I have for you now 5 directors who are very much still alive and still very much at an age where they could make a movie. But I realized as I was putting this list together that 3 of these directors, the first 3 I will name, they haven't directed a movie in a long time, not because they don't want to. And in fact, some of these, they're actively trying to get new projects off the ground. But you will notice a certain thing these 3 directors have in common that might explain why Hollywood is not greenlighting their projects. But let's start with my first director who I'd like to see make a new movie, and we just talked about her on Load Bearing Beams, and that is Nancy Meyers. She hasn't directed a movie since 2015's The Intern, which was a fairly, a decent-sized hit. But that itself came after a 6-year hiatus where Nancy Meyers was struggling to get a new movie made, despite coming off a string of big hits, ending with 2009's It's Complicated, a big hit. But the issue was that between 2009 and 2015, Hollywood just moved away from making her kinds of movies, romantic comedies, star-driven movies, movies starring people over 50 years old, movies for adults, in other words. Now, she has been shopping around her new project, which is called Paris Paramount. She's been trying to get this made for years, and she seemed to have a deal with Netflix locked up 2 years ago to greenlight the movie, but then it fell apart. And that was because her movies are very expensive. She works with big movie stars, takes a lot of money on production design, and Netflix has its weird financing things. But the point is, she is supposedly looking for $150 million to make the movie. And I say, give it to her. Like, why not? Every American over the age of 45 is going to watch this movie like 10 times over the next 20 years. It will pay for itself. But if she's not going to be able to get studio financing, and by the way, this whole list, I'm talking about movies I want to see in theaters. If Nancy Meyers is not able to get studio financing to get her new movie made, I say she just needs to pull a Francis Ford Coppola, liquidate all your assets, sell all of your very nice houses, I'm sure, and pay for the movie yourself. Nancy, make a Megalopolis. Make Nancyopolis, the most epic kitchen movie of all time. Be a legend. Be a god. The next director on my list is Amy Heckerling, who hasn't directed a movie since 2012's Vamps. Now, I will be honest with you, I have never heard of this movie, but Amy Heckerling, one of the great comedy directors of the 80s and 90s. She directed some of the biggest comedy hits and some big cult classics: Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Johnny Dangerously, National Lampoon's European Vacation, Look Who's Talking 1 and 2, and Clueless. And she's kept pretty busy directing TV, but I want to see movie comedies make a comeback in general, and I'd love to see Amy Heckerling, one of the greats of the genre, given a chance to come back. So my third director is one of the most successful female directors of all time. That, by the way, is the thing these people have in common. All women. If a woman makes a flop, Hollywood seems a little more hesitant, despite, male directors like McG getting bite after bite at the apple. Anyway, Kathryn Bigelow, the first woman to ever win Best Director Oscar. Kathryn Bigelow hasn't made a movie since 2017. That movie was Detroit, a movie universally loathed. I have never seen it. It seems cringy as hell, but that's why pencils have erasers, as Lenny from The Simpsons says. So Kathryn Bigelow, if you don't know, she started her career with grounded action movie classics like Blue Steel and Point Break. She has awesome genre fare like Near Dark, great vampire classic, and then Strange Days, sci-fi movie from 1996. Probably one of my favorite movies of the 90s and one of her underseen movies, Strange Days. But after all of this, she reinvents herself as weirdly a filmmaker obsessed with the war on terror with The Hurt Locker. That's what she won the Oscar for. And then Zero Dark 30. Now, Zero Dark 30 is, of course, literal CIA propaganda. And that's not a joke. Like, the CIA approved the script for that movie. That movie is about CIA claims that reporting suggests did not happen at all. But I still love that movie. It actually might be the most evil movie that I genuinely love. I am morally compromised for loving this movie. It makes me question things about myself. But whatever. I want a Kathryn Bigelow comeback. But Kathryn, please do move on from all the military and intelligence agency propaganda. Don't do that anymore. Go back to your roots. Make a movie with Keanu Reeves, huh? Everybody would be excited about that. After I came up with this list, I went ahead and Googled Kathryn Bigelow new movie, and she actually just wrapped up shooting a new movie, her first new movie since Detroit. This movie stars Idris Elba and Rebecca Ferguson. And so my eyebrows were raised. Huh? What's this? Two of the best actors in the world. Jared Harris, another of my favorite actors. Oh my God, this is going to be the best movie ever, except it's going straight to Netflix. So no one will ever see this movie. No one will ever talk about this movie. All right. The next filmmaker I want to make a comeback is a man who absolutely could direct a movie right now. He could name his price and get the movie made if he wanted to, but instead he's doing his thing. He's making documentaries and producing movies for other people, which is like fine, but I'd like you, Peter Jackson, to get back to where you once belonged, and that's to make big movies for the big screen. So when his Lord of the Rings movies came out, I was like a cynical teenager, and I was like, this is some bullshit. I didn't love those movies when they came out. I didn't love his King Kong movie when it came out, but I love those movies and really just have appreciation and gratitude for them now. I'm just in awe of how well he's able to handle the mixture of visual and practical effects to really just show scope and scale, make epic feeling movies. There's almost no one who can do it like he can. And I will even go so far as to say his Hobbit movies are pretty good. They're so interesting. In a world full of CGI slop, you can look at those Hobbit movies and they look so much more interesting, so much better than all the garbage that comes out today. So because he's one of the only people who can do that at that scale, at that budget level, I'd really like to see Peter Jackson stop making Beatles documentaries and make another narrative feature film, please. So my final director who I would like to see make a comeback to motion pictures. This answer is kind of cheating a little bit because this guy, he is making movies and he's making movies that I love. I just want him to make different movies, even though I love what he's doing. James Cameron, Jim, if I may call you Jim, you love Avatar, you love the world of Pandora, and I love Avatar. I love the world of Pandora. I know that the only thing you ever want to do, Jim, is make Avatar movies for the rest of your life. But here's the thing. You make action movies like few other people can. And, you know, if you insist on making Avatar movies till you die, well, I'll watch Avatar movies until you die. But if you want to take a break from that, if after Avatar 3, you wanted to leave Pandora and come back to Earth, I have a pitch for you. And here's the pitch. The pitch is that you make like a regular movie. And here's who would star in that regular movie. Arnold Schwarzenegger. And in this movie, he's in the 70s. So are you. In this movie, he will play like a cop or something. And he has to get some bad guys or something. Maybe they kidnap his grandkids. We've figured it out. Just make like a normal movie where like a guy's chasing some other guys. And who wouldn't love to see the two of you reunited? I don't want a True Lies sequel. I want something in the vein of True Lies. I just want to see a big fucking fun movie like set on Earth with like real people in it. And I don't want it to be in 40X. I don't want it to be in high frame rate. I just want to go to the movie theater and see this movie that I know will still end up costing you like $900 million for some reason. But like, it's not my money. Who gives a shit? Who wouldn't want to see this? Everybody would want to see this. So those are my 5 directors who I'd like to see make a comeback, even if I bent the rules a little bit. Let me know who you would like to see make a comeback to making movies.